Hi all, today we will discuss about how JWT token will work. JWT means JSON Web Token, how internally will work. Suppose if you are using JWT for the security implementations in your particular Spring Boot microservices application, then how internally JWT will work. So most of the interviewer will ask the internal implementation. So the first step, what is like the file format to store the data based on the key and value. So whatever the data you are sending or client is sending, we need to validate by using JWT. So whatever the data is coming, that will be stored in the JSON form, and that will be stored by using key and value format. And the second is JWT structures. So there will be some three structures will be defined internally. One is header, other is body, another is signatures. So headers will be encoded with the base 64 encoder, and body also will be encoded with base 64 encoder, and signatures will be also encoded with base 64 encoder. After that, they will create a three part of encoder data. So whatever the data is coming from the client based on the JWT structures, they will create by using base 64 encoder. Through that, they will create one structures that is called JWT token. So while users trying to log in, suppose, and they are sending some username and password, so based on that JSON will be created, and based on the key and value, that data will be stored. After that, the JWT structures will generate a unique token that is called JWT, and they will go for the server, so that validate, and after that it will go for the authentication. So authentications based on the JWT, and after that we have JWT stored locally that will be authorized. So once users has been authorized, then in that cases will be go for the users detail and validate the detail. If signatures and all will be okay, like whatever the JWT tokens has been generated, based on that they will validate the users detail and signatures. If everything will be okay, then users will be permit to access the request, or will be authenticate for the response and all. So that way this working will happen, logging by using username, password, server, validate credentials, whatever the username and password you enter based on the server will validate, and after that it will go for this sign in with the JWT. So JWT will authenticate based on the bearer token, whatever the bearer token has been generated, and then store JWT in locally, and then we have a resource users that will be validate, authenticates by using authentications and all, and then it will go for the data. So whatever the request has came, according to that will be sent to the data. So these all are the 6 steps which we will follow while we working on the JWT. And now after that, we how sign in algo will work. So this we have a public and semantic key will be there that will be generated internally in AWS. So if you are sending this and validating, that will be generated, and then these all are internally process will happen. So if you want to go for this JWT internal implementations, you can go through this image where we can get the idea how internally JWT will work. JWT is used for the security implementation, which is used for the validate, authentication, authorizations from the client to user server. So while we use JWT, then we have a generated bearer tokens will be there. By using help, we to validate the tokens based on the credentials, and then we will permit the user to access this thing. Yeah, so that's it from the JWT related.